On this vote, the yeas are 222, the nays are 210. The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table.
Well, today wasn't a very good day for the reptile industry, but that's not going to stop me from enjoying my passion fruit. What the hell is this? Passion fruit sherbet from Schwann's. It's amazing. So, hr5421 passed out of the House today in record-breaking time. It would just hit the it just hit the House like the 28th or something. It got proposed. All right, then went to the Rules Committee or something, and then passed out of there February 2nd, and then hit the floor for a vote today. Yeah, that's absolutely insane. There was so much stuff in that bill that's so much bigger than our problems with the reptiles. It's basically just a green energy slush fund, so people that already have way too much money can make more money via taxpayers. But like I said, like, it was pretty well known the House was going to pass this, but it was just unfortunate that, with all those amendments, that they couldn't, the bill couldn't be broken down a little bit more and sent to the proper committees to look at stuff. Our issue was the amendment to the Lacey Act. The other big issue is there is a bill that had already passed the Senate. Now, since everybody likes to say weird things about how I'm a conspiracy theorist or I'm lying, I'll just show you something. So here, I'll show you this. This is ultimately a law cannot. Ultimately, a law can only be passed if both the Senate and the House of Representatives introduce, debate, and vote on similar pieces of legislation. After the conference committee resolves any differences between the House and Senate versions of the bill, each chamber must vote again to approve the final bill text. And then after that happens, then it can go to be signed into law. So, as crazy as this bill is, it's much closer to passing than I originally thought, because I didn't know about the mirror bill that has already passed the Senate. And I will show you that right now. Senate Bill 1260. This is the Innovation and Competition Act of 2021. This passed back in June. Yeah, this, I believe, somewhere in, I think in June or something this passed. I don't know. I'd have to look through it. Anyways, this is the bill that was needed for essentially hr4521 to move forward. So now what they'll do is the conference committee will take these two bills, make them identical, and I don't know if this bill itself has the same Lacey Act language in it that HR 4521 does. I just learned about this like 2 hours ago when I was doing some research, when I heard that HR 4521 passed. And this bill also has a massive amount of amendments. It has 616, so I haven't had time to go through them all. That's more of a job for USARK, since that's what you people pay them to do. They can read through all 616 amendments and see if that language is in there. If it is, that's very bad. That is very bad. Because there is a huge push for this piece of legislation to pass, because the Democrats, since Biden has taken over, haven't really been able to accomplish anything. All their major legislation's kind of been shut down or stopped, or blocked, even in some cases by their own party. So if this doesn't have, if Senate Bill 1260 doesn't have the Lacey Act amendment to it, that is a positive thing, because that means for whatever the final text is, that's something that's going to have to be added to it. If this already mirrors that in that Lacey Act language, it's probably going to be in the final bill for that will then have to be voted on again and then sent to the president to be signed into law. So the takeaway from all of this is we're in much worse shape than I thought we were. I'll show you a video of somebody reading, I think it's Cusco, reading USARK's plan of attack, which is essentially to get this amendment to the Lacey Act removed from the bill before it passes the House. Well, it already passed the House. So unless they did that in the last 48 hours, which I highly doubt it, let's hope they did and I'm completely wrong, it's in there.
It's the Competes Act, and it's, what is it, hr4521. And so let's read in here kind of what would happen. We'll just read through it, if you guys don't mind. We will read what Phil wrote here. I imagine this is what Phil wrote, so it seems like Phil's writing. The America Competes Act, which is an acronym, passed out of the Rules Committee as expected. It will next go to the full House for a vote. Our goal is not to stop the bill, but to get the Lacey Act amendments removed before it goes to the Senate.
This is a much bigger threat, even as ridiculous as it is, even as incompetent as the current administration has been. This is still a huge threat, and not just for reptile-related reasons. This is a threat because it's a piece of garbage legislation that doesn't do the things that it claims to do, and just is basically a waste of massive amounts of taxpayer money, and it doesn't really address any of the free market issues that we have today, or the competition issues that we have with China, or the fact that we're constantly letting China flood our country with all kinds of horrible things like fentanyl and tainted dog and cat food, and just everything. It's absolutely absurd. But yeah, it's just unfortunate, and I just wanted to do an update video on where we're at, and I hope that Senate Bill 1260 doesn't have the same language in its amendments that HR 452 does, because that'll be real bad. So yeah, USARK supporters and members, you might want to start hitting them up to seeing what their game plan is for this, and more importantly, start demanding more of them, because if they would have handled the lawsuit correctly instead of just going after the interstate commerce and actually would have dealt with the arbitrary and capricious listing, we wouldn't be in this mess. These animals wouldn't be on the Lacey Act to begin with. We wouldn't, we wouldn't be fighting the same fight over again. So you need to demand more of USARK. You need to demand that they start coming up with a proactive methodology for dealing with these issues, not a reactive one, because that's essentially what we're doing. We're reacting to this, and if the important part of the U.S. lawsuit from 2015-2016 would have been focused on, and we would have won on that front, we wouldn't be in the mess we're in today, and Fish and Wildlife wouldn't be in such a tough position to seek out an amendment because of winning the interstate transportation and interstate commerce lawsuit, USARK winning. It allowed every single invasive plant and animal to go across state lines unless there is a state law prohibiting it. So, this is where we're at, and this is the reality of the situation. And HR 4521 is much closer to becoming law than anyone realized, certainly me at least. So yeah, this is not how government's supposed to act, and that's all the reptile stuff aside. This is not how a democratic republic that has a Senate and a House of Representatives is supposed to behave. This is completely absurd, and this bill shouldn't have been brought up for a vote like this. But this is the post-Trump, anti-Trump world we're living in right now, and this is what they're going to keep trying to do. Stuff like this just push bills through. So, but that's where we're at, and I hope this was helpful.